Sanders here from the RCWR show. This is your Wow Women of Wrestling October 26, 2019 review, man. What a fantastic episode for this week, man. Man, where do we begin with this one? Just when you think you know how things are gonna play out, to kind of quote one of my favorite Foo Fighters songs, I should have known, right? I mean, man, that was crazy. Come on. We're going to be talking about Wow Women of Wrestling for the next little bit, as it just went off a couple of minutes ago on Access TV. By the way, did you see those spots there for Impact Wrestling? So we all are on the same page, because there were some of us, and it's okay if you're a little bit confused, some of us were under the impression Impact Wrestling was back this past week, because we had heard, really from that press release that they had put out some weeks back, they said that Impact Wrestling new episodes was going to be premiering immediately after Bound for Glory, but that exactly wasn't the case, was it? So now we know officially, just in case you maybe had missed that press release official date of when Impact Wrestling was going to be premiering on Access TV, it's actually going to be this coming Tuesday. Again, this coming Tuesday, which makes it what, guys? The 28th of October? Or is it the 29th? It's the 29th of October that they're going to be premiering on Access TV. New episodes, mind you, new episodes. So I'm definitely ecstatic for that. Nice little spots that we had. So I appreciate the reminders. I really do, because I remember checking now Access TV this past Tuesday, and I was seeing something called This Is Impact, and it was kind of throwing me off a little bit, and I figured this can't be Impact Wrestling, right? So I probably watched about maybe 5 minutes, and then I had changed the channel. But I'm definitely going to be watching that. Let me know if you guys are going to be watching that as well. So we had some interesting drama, some of which we had talked about on last week's Wow Recap, wondering exactly what steps, storyline-wise, David McLane was going to be taken to try to hammer down on getting a true new number one contender. No shenanigans, no controversy involved, just, okay, this is it. This is going to be our number one contender that's going to face Tessa Blanchard for that Wow Women's Championship of hers. That's it. It's a done deal. And remember what I had said on last week's show. Are we maybe going to see some type of a case? I said 2 scenarios, if I'm not mistaken. One of the scenarios I put out there was, are we going to see a case where David McLane puts a stipulation out there that if anybody tries to interfere, like immediately, maybe they're going to be terminated on the spot, or you're just banned from ringside. Like, you had to put some type of ramifications in it, basically, right? And it was so funny, because as soon as I was done with that show and I went off the air, immediately I had said, oh, snap. Well, you know what? You can eliminate this person and this person, but unless you say everybody, no matter who you are, banned from ringside, if you interfere in any type of way, you're going to get hit with a fine. You're going to be suspended indefinitely. Unless you do something like that, then a situation presents itself where somebody can run interference, because it's kind of like negotiating with the devil, so to speak, right? You can say, like, just imagine the devil just pops up and the devil says, you have one wish. What is your wish? Well, I want $1 million. Give me that. I want $1 million. All right, well, you get $1 million and they're basically steamrolling through your freaking door, and you're like, I said I wanted $1 million, and the devil is like, well, that's exactly what we gave you. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, no, I wanted cash. I wanted 100, or $1 million dollars. I wanted that kind of bucks. Well, you should have chose your words more carefully now, shouldn't you? Right? So that's how you're kind of looking at it from last week going into this week, right? But you're still kind of wondering, because you don't really know what's going to be happening this week. But once again, we got the controversy. How is all of that going to be addressed this week? And so kicking off this episode of Wow Women of Wrestling, we saw David McLane talk to Beast very briefly. Beast pretty damn ecstatic, because the main event match for tonight was going to be Beast taking on Jungle Grrrl. This is it. This is the be all end all. Finally, we're going to figure out who's going to be the number one contender for getting an opportunity to face Tessa for that championship, because David McLane laid it out clearly, saying, hey, in fairness, we need to make sure this match goes down without any problems whatsoever. And to do so, we're going to make sure Tessa Blanchard is banned from ringside. Again, Tessa Blanchard banned from ringside. I don't know how many of you guys had peeped that out, but as soon as I had heard that, I said, oh, something's coming. There's going to be another swerve. It's going to be interesting to see how we get around this one, right? We'll talk a little bit more about that main event match in just a little bit. Let's go over some of the other stuff that had happened on tonight's show here, because I love taking my notes as always and adding in a couple of colorful thoughts here. So we had our first matchup of the night, which had consisted of Keita Rush and Steffi Slays, the Bully Busters, taking on the Monsters of Madness, Hazard and Havoc. Oh man, what a great opener of a match. And I know we had kind of highlighted this last week, but with regards to Havoc, and I gotta stress it again, maybe for those of you that did not check out the broadcast from last week, if you all are following Havoc on social media, then you would know the incredible journey that she's been on these past couple of months to lose a significant amount of weight for no other reason than to do it for her, trying to be more healthier and everything. She's even cut back on her drinking, and you got to go on her social media pages and check out where she is right now with her weight. It's a tremendous journey, so you got to keep that in mind when you're seeing, because I know some people, and that's okay if you're kind of like most people, a lot of these faces you're seeing, and wow, you're rather new to them, but for some of us veteran fans, we're familiar with these cats. We grew up watching some of these cats, but you probably, if you're a newer fan, you're looking at these people and then you want to follow on social media. And in the particular case of Havoc, it's almost night and day. It's almost like you're looking at two completely different people. That's how much smaller she's gotten. So you kind of have to have that in the back of your mind when you're seeing the new pics of her and you're seeing how she looks on these episodes of WoW that was taped some months back, right? But great matchup opening up WoW for this week, and the Monsters of Madness taking on the Bully Busters. I love this. And for me, as far as what stood out the most to me during this match was one, Keita Rush. Now, I know Keita Rush, she's been doing her thing in pro wrestling since like at least 2013 or maybe 2014, right? I'm not going to come on here and I'm not going to, well, I've been watching her. No, if I'm a newcomer to somebody, I have no problem admitting that whatsoever, right? There's nothing wrong with admitting that, right? If anything, it creates even more cool conversation with fans that maybe have been following somebody like a Keita Rush a lot longer, and you got great dialogue right there of going back and forth as a result. But yeah, Keita Rush, this is somebody that honestly, unless she was under a different name, maybe for some of the other promotions that we cover on the show on a week-to-week basis, it was really like my first introduction, really since last season, definitely going into this season, of really getting a full view of what Keita Rush is all about and everything. And for me, going into this tag match, that's the one individual that stood out to me the most. And it wasn't even a case where I was just homing in on anybody in particular. I just knew, hey, based off the work I've seen of Steffi Slays so far, off and on over the years, so know enough about her. All right, know what's going on with Hazard, Havoc. Okay, I know we're going to have a great match. Keita Rush, okay, a little bit I've seen over so far. This is going to be great. But Keita Rush really won me over this week. I was really impressed from just what all she was able to do from an offensive perspective. I was very impressed with, from a athletic perspective, how she was able to go in there, especially when it came down to that hot tag. Anybody that had watched this episode tonight, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Steffi Slays was taking the brute attacks for most of this match until finally down in the closing moments there, Keita Rush was the one that had finally got that hot tag. And she's coming in there doing some nice, beautiful drop kicks. I love the series of karate kicks, all that she was doing on Havoc, right down to the point she was bouncing off of the ropes, trying to do her best to knock Havoc down on her feet. No, actually take her off of her feet, make her land on her back. I just ate all of that up. Everything that she was doing, I just was loving it. And I'm going, yeah, that's what's up. Keita Rush, you freaking rock. I love that. So it's nice to be able to go into these episodes of WoW each week. And okay, I kind of like this person. I kind of like what I'm seeing, but I need to see it a little bit more magnified. And, it's like, as soon as you're thinking that, it's like, boom, sporadically it does happen. So it was really nice to really be able to kick back, because we've seen enough now, even if we're newcomers of WoW, we've seen enough now of Steffi Slays. So for some of us newer fans of the WoW product in particular, seeing someone like Keita Rush, we're going, especially if we're not that familiar with her resume and other feds, we're kind of like, okay, so what is she really about? So for me this week, Keita Rush really, really stood out the most. And I definitely would say, as far as the matches tonight, definitely, if you haven't watched it yet, show some love. Watch that tag match. That was a really, really good tag match. Bully Busters, as far as character-wise, character development and all that, going over a lot more, I felt, in this feud that they had against the Monsters of Madness. Closing moments of this matchup, however, we would see the Monsters of Madness pick up the win, even though Keita Rush came in there like a hot firecracker, and she was just tearing it up left and right, left and right. What it pretty much had came down to was Homegirl, who was it? Homegirl, I'm trying to figure out how those closing moments had went. Yeah, Hazard. Hazard had connected with a backplex stunner on Keita Rush to pick up the 1, 2, 3 for her and Havoc. But again, Keita Rush, great showing right there in that tag match. Good stuff. Going on to our next matchup. I'll probably cover maybe 1 or 2 more matches, and then I do want to take a pause, recognize some sponsors, and give some Patreon shout outs for this week's WoW Women of Wrestling October 26, 2019 recap. My homegirl, somebody that won me over and I put over tremendously a couple of weeks ago, Serpentine with Sophia Lopez coming out to the ring. Serpentine had a one-on-one matchup. I really didn't get a chance to talk about this, and I know one of our longtime listeners of the show, she is legally blind, and sometimes she will ask for colorful descriptions, and I always appreciate her compliments, because I don't mean to go out of my way when I describe something. It's just that artistic background in me that knows how to paint and draw. You tell me to describe something, I can do it without even really thinking about it, right? It's just, but the way I break it down is very fine detailed and everything. And I didn't really get a chance to really compliment Serpentine for her costume. She really does have that whole snake thing down, right? But what other things that make that costume really badass, I personally feel, it's got a touch of Medusa. It's got a touch of one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man villains, aside from Dr. Octopus, Mysterio. By the way, great job what Sony and Marvel did there with Spider-Man Far From Home, and Ryan Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Just everything about that was just so freaking brilliant. Just awesome. Other than the 1990s Spider-Man animated series on Fox and how they had captured Mysterio and everything, I would say the live-action Spider-Man movie with... actually, I said Ryan Gyllenhaal, didn't I? I apologize. Jake Gyllenhaal. I can catch myself sometimes if we're still alive when the air. He did a fantastic job. So, yeah, when I'm looking at Serpentine's costume, I got all of those. And I think now that I say this, when you go back and look at her costume, you'll see those same elements as well, man. But it's got, of course, Medusa. And then you got the whole snake, kind of like a G.I. Joe Cobra type of thing mixed in there as well, right? You got all of those elements. You got the Mysterio. And you're like, man, she's got a really badass costume. I'm really feeling that. It is really suiting what she's currently about and everything. She had faced the Princess of the Philippines, the beautiful and the lovely Reyes. Oh! If you were looking for a technical match, this was it for this week. This was it. And whoever is doing the bookings for this season, man. I mean, to last seen Serpentine in that phenomenal match against Tessa Blanchard. And now you follow it up a couple of weeks later, and she's in a great one-on-one matchup against my girl freaking Reyna Reyes. Oh my God, she is building a impressive track record. I mean, it's almost getting to that point now where you go, okay, Serpentine is fighting, okay, like who's she facing? Because you know, it's like you really don't care, because you know if Serpentine is involved, you know you're going to get a quality type of matchup, right? But yeah, man, this was another instant class up. If you were looking for something very technical, this was your match. And other than what we had saw Serpentine do with Tessa Blanchard some weeks ago, from that whole technical standpoint and everything, like this was it for you on this night. Great back and forth these two girls had. Loved them tremendously. Closing moments of this one, Serpentine connecting with the Michinoku driver, a nice modified version of the Michinoku driver on homegirl Sophia, forgive me there, on Reyna Reyes to pick up the W. And I gotta tell anybody this: go out of your way. If you didn't watch WoW yet, go out of your way, and when you're watching this second matchup, peep out how Serpentine connects that Michinoku driver onto Reyes. Man, she put some stank on that bad boy, man. I mean, that thing, I looked at that, I said, damn. And then I just couldn't help but go, and she put some barbecue sauce on that Michinoku driver, man. I mean, that thing was pretty. Go peep that out. I'm not exaggerating. Y'all got to peep that out for you. So that was just, I just couldn't help but go, woo, that's ooh, she put some, man, you put some, look, she put some respect on that Michinoku driver, man. I was loving that. Great matchup there. Also, we had got a little video package from Voodoo Doll and Siren. And they basically were following up to what had happened last week there. If you guys recall, go back, check out last week's WoW recap, and kind of get you guys kind of caught up to speed and everything. So this was basically a continuation of the Princess Aussie being kidnapped by Voodoo and Siren and all that, right? So this week we see Voodoo and Siren, they're verbally in this little video package. It was real short too. It's probably like about maybe 2 minutes long. They're taking shots at the Psycho Sisters, right? And so everything kind of stems from what had happened like last week or whatnot, involving Princess Aussie and one of the Psycho Sisters there. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have my trusty tablet because I usually have all my show notes there so I can easily refer back to it. So if my memory's a little bit fuzzy, that's the beautiful part about this show. It's not just my show, it's you all show as well. So we can interact and make sure we're all clarifying, we're all on the same page here. But, you know, they basically were saying, you know, look, you know, y'all can keep doing the little games that you're doing and everything. Two can pretty much play that. You know, you girls are pretty much ultimately what's standing in our way of ultimately becoming the new WoW Tag Team Champions and all that. And so their message pretty much was, hey, you know, we got your number. You know, we see what you're doing and we got something for you. So we got y'all's number. That basically was the message. Commercial break, you come on back. Psycho Sisters, they pretty much had their own little rebuttal to say about that. Ultimately, this was setting up a match, and this was a continuation of our WoW Tag Team Tournament series, as we had saw representing the Psycho Sisters, Fury and Razor, taking on Siren and Voodoo Doll. That's pretty much what this was all about. This was actually a great matchup. Now, some of you guys may be hearing those names and you may be wondering, well, what was going on with Mesmeriah? Mesmeriah was there. So, of course, it's like, so we're technically at a disadvantage here because we got Mesmeriah, right? But then the bigger story is, well, wait a minute. We remember how last week, you know, it really seemed as though Voodoo and homegirl Siren kind of came to the aid of Princess Aussie, and Aussie seemed a little bit confused, not really sure what was going on. She quickly made her exit and everything afterwards, right? So no Princess Aussie just yet. But you see Ms. Mariah out there, you're kind of going, well, safe to say we kind of know maybe how this match is going to be going, maybe, but no. Closing moments of this one, just when it looked like the numbers game was possibly going to go in favor of the Psycho Sisters as a result of Ms. Mariah being at ringside, Princess Aussie actually made an appearance and took the fight there to Ms. Mariah and pretty much balanced things out. And we actually had Saul Voodoo pretty much pick up the win for her team and everything. So for this tag team tournament series, that is it for the Psycho Sisters. They are out as Voodoo and Siren. They advance, right? This is, and I said this on Twitter earlier tonight too, and shout out to everybody I was interacting with during Wild tonight. Appreciate the interactions as always. For me, you know, all the shows that I watch during the week, whether it's New Japan, whether it's ROH or MLW, NWA, or just whatever, like, if you ask me straight up, Lee, what is the show that right now you're very excited about? You're enthusiastic, you've got high energy. What's the show you are looking forward to checking out the most every single week? And I would say, wow, I've for me to continue to feel the way that I felt the very first time that I watched it during the first season some months back, and I still have that energy now, right to the point I was like, okay, well, let me go on their Pro Wrestling Tee store and buy a shirt so I can, you know, really represent, because that's how much I love this promotion. I respect this promotion. I want to support them and everything. Like, yeah, like they are very, very high. I would put them at number one right now as far as what's really got me going. This is good stuff right here. Great tag match though. Great tag match. One of the bigger questions though coming from out of this, and I had said this on social media, which is this Siren Voodoo Aussie alliance. It's one of the most interesting alliances right now in WoW, and we're just scratching the surface of this story arc, right? So, you know, now you just can't help but think from the writing perspective. Okay, so now we need a follow up to this. Was Aussie doing what she was doing because, in essence, you could say that Voodoo and Siren kind of came to her aid, you know, a couple of weeks ago? Could you maybe go in that direction? And Aussie felt as though she owed them, right? But then it kind of goes back to what I was saying last week, which was, how exactly do you address what happened with Aussie when it appeared she was kidnapped by Voodoo and Siren? So, like, are we gonna eventually acknowledge that as well? This is the most fascinating of all the story arcs in WoW right now. This is like my second go-to that's got me wondering what's going on here exactly. You know, so obviously there is some connection storyline wise that Siren feels she has with Voodoo and Siren, right? And it's going to take definitely some more weeks to really weave this out, but that's the one that's got me most curious right now, right? I can just picture next week Siren and Voodoo are, I'm not seeing a backstage segment. You know, it seems like every time we cut to Voodoo and Siren, they're in their own respected lair, if you want to call it that, their hideout, and they're usually cutting their promos that way and all that. Does Aussie maybe show up at their lair, right? Like, is she already there? And, you know, I'm very curious how exactly they're going to go about all of that, right? But very, very, and who was going into this tag match too? You know, who was the heels? Who was the face in this one? That's another one that kind of really left you scratching your head a little bit. There really wasn't truly a defined heel and face tag team for this one. You know, this was one of those, it could go either way. And it seems what currently is happening right now with Aussie in there, right? You're kind of, well, wait a minute. It would appear that what Siren and Voodoo did to Aussie was very heel-like, but current actions we've been seeing of them these past couple of weeks, unless there's a ulterior motive, which is ultimately becoming the tag champions, and they figure, hey, right? So, I mean, there's a couple of different ways you can look at it, but for now, we don't need to exhaust our brains over it. But as far as what I was saying a few seconds ago, of all the story arcs, this is definitely the one that I'm really gravitating towards and I'm most curious about as it continues to unravel. That's one of the main ones I'm looking at right now. All right, so we got one more match to talk about, which is our main event match, as Jungle Grrrl have faced Beast to determine a true number one contender. Hey, before we get ready to go into that main event match, I do want to recognize some of our sponsors and our Patreon members, because without their kind contributions, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. And they also make it possible for bonus content to happen on our Patreon page and all that. Patreon.com/RCWR show, or for as little as $5 a month, you can get access to bonus audio and video content, great majority of which you won't be able to find anywhere else. So first thing I want to do, oh, sorry about that audio there. First thing I want to do is give a nod to our Patreon members. So shout out to my brother in arms, Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. God, I can't wait to have him back and do these WoW recaps again, because I'm most curious what the hell he's been making about what's been happening from WoW so far. He is some episodes behind. What are we on now, guys? I think this is episode... God, it feels like this is episode... If I had my tablet, I could tell you, because I usually record them through my DVR on Files, and then I can watch it via the Files app. Kind of feels like now we're maybe on episode 7 or 8, give or take. So he's behind. I don't even think he's watched a episode yet of this season. So can't wait for him to get caught up. But shout out to my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas. Shout out to John Krauser. Shout out to Justin Ripstock. Shout out to Sean Kenter. Tony Bean Gaming. You want the very latest in Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Tony Bang, I'm jealous of you, man, because you get to play that on that Nintendo Wii. I'm jealous. Or Switch. I'm so jealous of you, my friend. So jealous of you. Or the upcoming MOBA game, Marvel Super Wars. Tony Bang Gaming, he's got the walkthroughs, tips, news, reviews, all that good jazz. He's got a great YouTube channel, and he's got a Patreon page as well. Check him out. Support him when you get a chance. Tony Bang Gaming. Freddie R. Freddie! Michael Wolf. John Davis. Joe Raymond Jr. Shout out to all of our Patreon members, and shout out to our sponsors of the RCWR show. We got some great sponsors we need to recognize. Shout out to Avaha Shoes. Avaha, this girl, it's a great story, and shout out to those of you that by the time I mixed this, you all would have already, for on demand and on the downloads, you would have already heard her ad and everything. But it was really nice collaborating with her. Anybody that had checked out our Friday night SmackDown review show, I had told you guys how I've been having a little bit of difficulty with my aligners. Go back and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But Avaha was such a sweetheart, because I had told her what was going on, and I asked her if she was willing to maybe, in her own words, introduce herself to our listeners and let them know what she's about and everything. And she was more than happy to do so. But her story, and it kind of ties into what WoW Women of Wrestling is all about and everything, you know, is overcoming, you know, certain obstacles in your life, whether it's bullying or rather it is tragedy, right? You know, we see these colorful characters that are able to overcome such great diversity, right? And whether they're a heel or a baby face, right? Ultimately, there was something that happened in their life that was a turning point, and they were able to somehow overcome that and everything. That's what, when you look at WoW, a lot of those women kind of have in common and everything. And Avaha, just one of the things that she had overcame in her life was PTSD. And that's just for starters. But she was able to eventually come out on top of that, and she was able to make her own shoe line brand, right? Her shoes made in Italy, you know, best materials that's out there. You know, she designs them and all that, and it's been very therapeutic for her. It's been great. She's been having a lot of success at it, and she's got a really cool deal that she's doing for our listeners here of the RCWR show. When you buy shoes from her on her page and everything. She gives you like $10 off. I think it's either $10, $15 off when I get ready to put the show together for on demand and the downloads. And you can come back if you're going to be watching the web stream of this. I'll actually have the code for you guys that you can use. I mean, this is great timing because, I mean, look, I'm a shoe collector. I ain't going to even fake. I love me some shoes, right? So holidays right around the corner too. So definitely shout out to her. And for those of you that maybe want to check out her website, see what that bad boy is all about, I'll actually post a link in the chat here while we're still live on the air. But the link you want to go is, I'm actually looking at it right now. Bear with me a quick second here, because there was a series of messages she has sent me here. Let me see. Where is it? I think I found it. Bear with me a second here. I think I found it here. There it is. So you go to aliveshoes.com/brand/AHAVAHBYAHAVAH. Now I know some of you guys are going, Lee, I love your brother. That's a tongue twister. I'm so going to forget that. That's why we have the link available for you all, not just in the chat, but it's also going to be available in the episode description. But represent, check her out. Also, shout out to Aria K Designs. Aria K Designs. Let me tell you something. Over the years, I've had people say to me, Lee, like some of the designs that you do, man, they're pretty cool. I can tell you most times I am creating my own design. Sometimes I get help from certain colleagues and everything. But there's this one new cat. I love their work. I've kind of collaborated with them a couple of times on some stuff, and I know you'll definitely will check them out. Whether you need some designs for your business, you need some stuff maybe for an upcoming, I don't know, maybe you're working on your own Kindle book or something like that, right? Maybe you just want something for a podcast, whatever. These guys can design anything. Hit them up, Aria K Designs. Once again, Aria K Designs. They got a website. You can pretty much find them at the same name. Check them out. And you spell Aria, A-R-I-K, and then Designs, right? Aria K Designs. Check them out. Also, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is brought to you in part by the law office of Ryan Quinn, right here in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Go Nats! $200 for parking right now for those Nats games, by the way. If you are trying to go to the Nats game tonight, as far as parking goes, you heard me right. You are looking for a place to park, $200. And that's the minimum. Crazy. Just super freaking crazy. That's all I got to say. But yeah, check this out. The law offices of Ryan Quinn, they specialize in motor vehicle accidents. A lot of accidents here happen in the DC and Virginia area. So, you know somebody, or just to have some information handy, because you never know when you might be in an accident, law office of Ryan Quinn can help you out. Give them a call at 703-457-1300. That's 703-457-1300 for a consultation, or visit the website rquinnlaw.com. rquinnlaw.com. Law office of Ryan Quinn. Accidents happen. They are there to make it right. Also, shout out to SHEABoo.com for all the best skincare products, all made from natural organic oils, shea butter, and so much more. Truly the best vegan skincare products. Check out SHEABoo.com. President Evil. Gotta give a shout out to my good friends over at the movie there, President Evil. Great team behind the movie President Evil. Just days before the November midterm elections, 3 young kids who are Muslim, Mexican, Haitian are stalked by a deranged killer dressed as the President of the United States. Check out the trailer, watch the movie, buy it. Amazon.com. Check it out. Good stuff right there. Also, Leafy Assets. I can't forget about them. If you are a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they can help protect your assets and strategically help grow your business and wealth. Check them out, leafyassets.com, leafyassets.com. Appreciate all of these guys. Also got to give a shout out to Julian Shabazz. Julian Shabazz, who has the 3rd edition Black Stars of Professional Wrestling, available in trade paperback right now on Amazon.com for $15.95. Check that out on Amazon.com. Just a couple of more shout outs here. I think I got 2 more at most. Shout out to, and it might actually be 1 more. Let me just look here and make sure we got everybody. Yeah, we only got 1 more shout out actually. And that shout out goes to Eloquence. Again, eloquence.com. Shout out to them. They are a new sponsor of the RCWR show. We definitely appreciate having them on board. You can find out more information about them in the episode description of this very episode. But we definitely appreciate them being on board here as well. So shout out to all of these guys. You know, I know that can be a little bit taxing and some of that can be a little bit redundant for some of you to hear, but collectively with all of these sponsors and our Patreon members, like I said, they make great content like what you're checking out right now and other content available for everybody to check out. And, you know, not for nothing, but when you're a Patreon member, that's the beautiful part. Like this show and other shows are edited and ad free. So do consider signing up for Patreon. We got 1 more match to talk about, and then we're pretty much going to go on home. Not much to say about this one. Jungle Grrrl, Beast, main event match to determine a true #1 contender to face Tessa Blanchard for that WOW Women's Heavyweight Championship. With only a couple of minutes left before this show was over, you kind of figured, you know, what's going to happen exactly, because we're not getting a 15-minute match here. There's going to be some weird shenanigans that's going to be going on, and you know, you're wrestling like that. This was kind of highlighted at the beginning based on what David McLean had said and everything. So how is this going to play out? Well, after you get past the entrances, there was a lot of showboating, a little bit of test of strength, but it was mainly showboating around, killing a little bit of time. All right, yeah, make the crowd eat it up, soak it all in, man, right? Good stuff. Loved all of that. You know, then after circling around each other for a couple of minutes, they finally got physical and was throwing it down. You know, Beast coming in with a couple of power moves. Jungle Grrrl kind of coming right back. Seemed like Jungle Grrrl was maybe on the upper hand for a hot second, but nah, then it kind of seemed like it was back on Jungle Grrrl. Jungle Grrrl is getting the upper hand. So it was a really good battle of the strengths there, right? It was really great seeing the veteran in Jungle Grrrl taking on this newcomer in the Beast. I mean, both of these girls, the chemistry, it's just flowed tremendously since these two have been engulfed in this feud this season on WOW and everything. And, you know, once again, controversy gets in the way. So, I mean, let's really count the ways here. You know, if it wasn't Tessa Blanchard interfering a couple of times, it was Jessica Havoc and Hazard a couple of times. So, you know, you're looking at this and you're going, okay, so it really seems like each time Jungle Grrrl and Beast lock up, somehow we're not really given the opportunity to see a true definitive #1 contender. Like, you know, what the hell is going on here, right? And I thought it was interesting how right before this main event match had went about, we saw a segment. There was really no timetable to like when this segment had happened. I don't know if it was like a post-match thing or before, but we had saw Lana Starr approach Sophia Lopez as she was making her way somewhere. I don't know if she was making her way into her home or what, but Lana Starr had said to Sophia, hey, how is it that all of the people that you represent keep getting championship opportunities to face Tessa? Like, what's your secret? And Sophia told her straight up, you know, well, it's an old saying, you know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And Lana just nodded her head in approval, smiled, and pretty much had followed Sophia afterwards. So you see that and you're kind of going, okay, so we kind of see where Lana Starr is going now. Okay. All right. Maybe she's trying to figure out some type of a way to wiggle her way into the championship there. Maybe, like, who knows? I didn't forget the main event match. I mentioned that on purpose for a reason. So you go into this main event match, and just when it's looking as though we're about to have a definitive winner, because we see Jungle Grrrl, she's climbing up to the top of the turnbuckle in the closing moments. She's gotten the Beast down in a weakened state where all she's got to do is just hit that top body splash. That's it. Match is over. When all of a sudden, Faith the Lioness, of all people, Faith the Lioness, runs down to the ring, is grabbing on the leg of freaking Jungle Grrrl. Jungle Grrrl's trying to fight her off and everything. Managed for a little bit, but then Lana Star comes, pretty much does the same thing. So now you pretty much kind of have a little bit of a brawl that's going on there. And, Jungle Grrrl was attacked by these two, right? And so we'll come back to the finish. It's all still connected. Stay with me now. Stay with me. So we then see Lana Star, who at this point, now that Jungle Grrrl has kind of come to her feet, has rebounded, and she's seeing what's going on, Lana Star doesn't want any part of Jungle Grrrl, so she hauls ass trying to get into the ring. Beast is already on her feet at this point. She's come to, and she is pissed. And Beast just pretty much scoops her up, plants her, and that's pretty much it. Faith the Lioness, I don't know what happened to my girl Faith. I don't know if she was continuing to get her ass kicked by Jungle Grrrl or what. But despite all of that, this match was not thrown out due to interference. A number one contender was crowned, and that number one contender was Jungle Grrrl. So basically, the way the officials looked at this was, okay, so Faith the Lioness and Lana Star, they did what they did in attacking Jungle Grrrl. So, all right, Jungle Grrrl advances to face Tessa. So once again, the Beast has been screwed, right? But there's going to be some serious ramifications that's going to be coming for Lana and Faith the Lioness doing what they had did there. There's going to be some serious consequences. Beast is coming. She's coming like I don't know what. She's going to be cashing in big time. And let me tell you something. Another thing that we need to peep out. I know that on the horizon, as far as like the next feud / program, we got the Dixie Darlings, as I like to call them. Or you can say the Dixie Girls, but I like to call them the Dixie Darlings. The twins. We know they're going to get into that little program there with Grits and Glam, Amber O'Neal, and Jesse Jones, right? But you still got that previous history there with Faith the Lioness and Lana Star. So I really would not be that surprised if, okay, now that it's official, Lana Star, Faith the Lioness, they've aligned themselves with Sophia Lopez, right? So you got yourself a nice serious numbers game. And then when you really just kind of take a step back, look at the clientele that Sophia Lopez represents. I mean, she's like the female freaking Paul Heyman there, right? I mean, you want to talk about a dangerous alliance, but the female version, you got Sophia Lopez, you got Nikki Crumbus, you got Faith the Lioness, you got Lana Star, you got Serpentine. You technically have the Wild Women's Champion, Tessa Blanchard, in your back pocket. Am I missing anybody, guys? I mean, like, am I missing a name there? Like, I think I practically named everybody that is associated with this woman right now, right? So, I mean, it's a numbers game when it's all said and done. And I kind of have a feeling that, at least for the duration of this season, we're going to get to a point where when it comes to Sophia Lopez and that expanded clientele that she represents and everything, is going to get to a point where there's going to be some unlikely alliances that's going to form, all in the name of combating Sophia Lopez, putting her in her place, and taking out all these other people. So I'm just saying, as far as the weeks to come there, yeah, I'm definitely seeing Beast, whether she wants to help or not. Beast is being derailed for a hot second. The way this feels like it's going to be mapping out for me personally, as far as this season goes, it really feels like Jungle Grrrl is going to get her title shot, but somehow, hook or crook, Tessa Blanchard is going to come out on top again. That's it, Jungle Girl. You go to the back of the line. No more title shots for you. As long as I'm champion, your time's over. My time is now. Poof, pow, be gone. But this feels like what's going on with Beast is nothing more than a scenic route. I have a feeling that by season finale's end, Beast will become the new WoW Women's Champion. And just in the meantime, we're going to get a little bit of a scenic route, right? She's going to be dealing with Sophia Lopez, and I can see Beast forming an unlikely alliance with Grits and Glam. I could even see a case come about where maybe she teams up with the Bully Busters, right? I can see all of that stuff coming about in the coming weeks. So it's kind of interesting how, and I have a feeling that's maybe the direction we're going to be going in. We'll wait and see how it plays out. But for WoW to kind of be taking this scenic route, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if the end result is going to be Tessa Blanchard taking on Beast for that championship, sign me up. That's a hell of a main event match. Sign me up. That needs like 3 segments in itself. Man, it's like watching the female Goldberg, but 10 times better because this girl's got like freaking talent like a mofo, right? I mean, that's literally no disrespect to Goldberg, but like literally, that's what I keep thinking about when I look at her. So overall, another good installment of WoW Women of Wrestling for this week. Definitely go out of your way if you haven't set your DVR yet. You know, it's coming on a couple of times tonight since it's Saturday and all. Check it out when you guys get an opportunity. Hey, some quick programming notes now that we're pretty much over and done with here. Your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you guys Monday, the 21st. We'll be live after Monday Night Raw goes off the air. Check that out. Going to be some good stuff. And also, we've got that Crown Jewel pay-per-view event that's going to be happening this Thursday, October 31st. I got to talk with the missus, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to be using a sick day that day to actually check out that pay-per-view event. So I will be live, definitely. I'm just not really sure if I'm going to watch a majority of that pay-per-view at work, have some of it carry over on the way home, then we do the live stream, or if I'm just going to use a sick day. I don't know yet. I'll have my mind made up definitely before Wednesday, but those are your programs that's going to be going down for sure. Also, for our Patreon members, this Sunday, me and Tammy are going to be sitting down to record a new edition of Wrestling with the Topics. We're going to give you guys some colorful insight into our recent trip to PA for a little bit of R&R, business and pleasure. So we'll give you guys the skinny on that. But that's going to do it. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Check out our Discord server as well. Everybody is welcome. If you don't know anything about Discord, it's free to join. You can download it on your phone, tablet, desktop, interact with me, other listeners of the show. We got a really cool, nice, tight little group over there on our Discord. It's a very intimate group, I tell you what, and it's really nice to have all of those people. It's sometimes it could be therapeutic, but loads fun. That's the main thing. It's loads fun. So definitely check it out. If you want the direct link for the Discord server so you can join, just check out the episode description. It's available right now. And yeah, that is going to do it. You can also follow the Facebook page as well. You know, we've been picking up a lot of likes and all that on the Facebook page. Appreciate that love and support. And that's going to do it. So if I don't see you guys for that Patreon edition of Wrestling with the Topics, I will definitely peep you all out on Monday. And until next go round, wishing all y'all to be safe, most importantly, be kind to one another. Adios.